Good evening and welcome. You're watching 7 at 7. I'm Pooja Shali. Let's begin first with the headlines. It's a Supreme Court relief to suspended BJP Neta Nupur Sharma for her remarks on the Prophet. She's been granted interim protection from arrest till August 10 in 9 FIRs lodged against her across the country. A 23-year-old young man stabbed in Bihar for allegedly watching a video of Nupur Sharma. Now, cops, while denying the Nupur Sharma link, which the family continues to maintain, cops say personal enmity. An absolute shocker from Haryana. DSP Surinder Singh mowed down by mining mafia in New. Encounter breaks out between cops and accused. One person shot in the firing. It's an ugly caste war over the Agnipath scheme. Opposition is claiming it's a bid to create the Jati Veers. Defence Minister Rajnath Singh counters misinformation, says no change in the recruitment over this. Kalakurchi, SP and collector have been transferred after Tamil Nadu's student suicide. Action has been taken after Stalin's review meeting. Victim's second autopsy now is underway. A case has been registered after NEET aspirant in Kollam claims she was asked to remove innerwear at the examination centre. The National Testing Agency has denied the charges, saying complaint is with wrong intention. It's a deadly heat wave searing through Europe. Temperature crosses 40 degrees Celsius in United Kingdom, Germany, France and Spain. The top court of the country has granted suspended BJP spokesperson Nupur Sharma interim relief. Nupur had moved the apex court, citing that she has been facing death and rape threats after the Supreme Court, remember last time, had come down heavily upon her in the previous hearing. But heard by a two-judge bench comprising of Justice Suryakant and Justice J.B. Pardiwala, Nupur has now been granted interim protection from arrest until the 10th of August, and all the states and the centre have been notified of the same. Now, the Supreme Court has also recognized the extent of death threats clearly meted out against Nupur Sharma and stated that her life and liberty must be protected. Not just that, Nupur Sharma may also now be able to move the Delhi High Court. Earlier this month, giving you a background, Nupur Sharma had requested the bench to club all the FIRs that are pending against her across the country. At least 9 FIRs have been filed against her across the country in different states against her.
All I can say is that the order is completely in conformity with law. It makes sense. You can't have one person, facing multiple investigations on one single broadcast. I mean, just because it was broadcast all over the country, you don't face 1,000 investigations for it wherever it has been broadcast. So it's been an act of, and it's an interim order for the timing. The FIRs will be consolidated. The Supreme Court will have to decide which police station where the FIR is lodged will be the one police station. They've done that in the past in a TV anchor's case. So there's a precedent for that. That you club all the FIRs together and decide one police station which will continue to investigate the case.
Well, when a petitioner seeks anticipatory bail, the courts are expected to hear both sides. The respondents are to be served, and the respondents are also to be heard in addition to hearing the petitioner. That is how the justice is delivered in the matter. Now, naturally, in this case also, when the petitioner has approached Supreme Court, the court has issued notice to the respondents and has now fixed the matter for the next date for hearing. And during the interim period, invariably, the courts are granting relief not to arrest till the next date, so that the merits of the matter would be examined on the next day, when the other side also would be heard, so that court can do justice. I wish that this particular sensitive matter, which has created a lot of unrest and controversies, which is stretched over so much time, must end now with the Honorable Supreme Court speaking out what the actual justice, both for Nupur Sharma and for those who are on the other side.
Nupur Sharma, by her words spoken, has used derogatory remarks, and by her remarks and by words spoken, she has hurt the sentiments of billions of Muslims not in India, all over the world. And so we wanted the court to law the land to take its own course, and she should be punished as per law. That is what our request from the beginning was. But now the court has given her interim protection. But here the person who exposed her statement, he was a journalist, a fact checker, he is in custody. He is in jail. There's various FIRs are filed against him in several police stations. So yesterday the matter was taken up, and the lordships were pleased to remark also that some vicious cycle is going on, that from one FIR is being released, is arrested in another FIR. So law should be equal for all.
They were harassed, humiliated and shamed. Over 90 girls in Kerala's Kollam were asked to remove their innerwear before they entered, or even if they could enter, into the NEET examination center. This brazen sexism has stunned India, triggering massive protests as well. Now, the agency which conducts the NEET examination is rubbishing the charges, claiming these complaints were made with wrong intention. Here's a report. Take a look.
The method detected these, so I was asked to remove my inner garments. But it was plastic, and they do also confirm it as plastic. But even though they asked me to remove, very shameful and uncomfort for us, facing the volunteers all through alone, and also to sit with the male candidates in their class.
A shocking revelation by a young NEET aspirant says she, along with 90 girls, were told to remove their innerwear to gain access to the exam center.
I am one of the victims. My NEET exam was at the Mahatma Institute of Information Technology. I did face the difficulty at the time of checking in the inspection area. The method detected these, so I was asked to remove my inner garments. But it was plastic, and they do also confirm it as plastic. But even though they asked me to remove, not only me, majority of the girl candidates were being asked to remove. It was very shameful and uncomfort for us, facing the volunteers all through alone. After this exam, our inner garments were damp together in a dark room, so it was very difficult to identify ours. The female volunteers were also very harsh.
The shameful action sparked massive outrage and protests. India Today spoke to another girl who too was given similar indecent order, as the invigilator feared exam conduct breach from the hooks of the innerwear.
വളരെ ഗേൾസിന് ഏറ്റവും കൂടുതൽ സെക്യൂരിറ്റിയും പ്രൈവസിയും വേണ്ട സമയം കൂടിയായിരുന്നു. അപ്പോൾ ഇങ്ങനെ അണ്ടർ ഗാർമെന്റ്സ് ഒക്കെ ഊരേണ്ടി വന്ന ഒരുപാട് കുട്ടികൾ പ്രൊട്ടസ്റ്റ് ചെയ്തു. ആക്ച്വലി അവരിതൊരു റൂളായിട്ട് തന്നെയാണ് പറഞ്ഞത്. ഇതൊരു സ്ട്രിക്റ്റ് റൂളാണ്, നിങ്ങളിത് സഹകരിച്ചേ പറ്റുള്ളൂ എന്നുള്ള രീതിയിൽ കമ്പൽ ചെയ്യായിരുന്നു. മെന്റലി എല്ലാവരും വളരെ ഡിപ്രസ്ഡ് ആക്കിയ ഒരു സിറ്റുവേഷൻ. കുറെ കുട്ടികൾ ഒരുപാട് സഫർ ചെയ്തു. എക്സാമിനെ വളരെ മോശമായി തന്നെ ഇത് ബാധിച്ചു.
The National Testing Agency, which conducts NEET, rubbished the charges, claiming they were made with wrong intention. The exam watchdog said that the aspirants appeared for the exam and made no such complaints at the center, adding that its test codes are gender sensitive. But the local MP slammed NTA, saying it is not the first time that such incidents have taken place.
Can you imagine that a girl of 16, 17 years of age, such an age student, has not even submitted a complaint? That is the reason by which they are saying that such an incident has never happened in that examination hall. But so many students, even more than 21 students were frisked, that they are not even allowed to enter into the hall without cutting and removing the metallic object in the innerwear.
NCPCR, the apex body for shielding children against crime, has written to the local authorities seeking action.
It's very unfortunate if we can't trust our children, if we are forcing them to remove their innerwears. It's very unfortunate situation, and we are issuing a notice to the district magistrate of Kollam to look into the matter, inquire into the matter and submit a report to NCPCR, identify the authorities.
Youth Congress staged a protest outside Marthoma Institute of Information and Technology, where the entrance exam was being conducted. Cops recorded the statement of the complainants.
Our duty was to provide the classrooms and invigilators the National Testing Agency is responsible for conducting the examination. So it is their duty to conduct it in a NEET examination in a proper way. We have no responsibility in the conduct of this examination.
Kerala Higher Education Minister wrote to Centre seeking strict action against NTA for the brazen sexism that has stunned India.
Different parties, different organizations, everybody coming together, protesting and hoping that these kind of issues does not take place in this very state, Kerala. With video journalist Tinku Rajashekar, this is Shubhimol KG reporting for India Today from Kollam.
The brutal murder of the cop in Haryana has sent shockwaves, and over this special telecast, I want to go across to my colleague Preeti Choudhri for the latest. Preeti, over to you.
Thank you, Pooja. To get our viewers up to speed, a Haryana cop was mowed down in Nupur, Haryana for trying to stop illegal mining. Now, DSP Surinder Singh was run over by a dumper truck connected to the illegal sand mining mafia in Haryana. He had got a tip-off and had gone to conduct a raid at the Tauri Hill. The DSP was standing near his official vehicle when he was asking the driver of the dumper that was carrying illegally mined sand to stop. The driver didn't stop, but went over him. The driver instead ran over the cop and crushed him to death. The truck driver is on the run. Haryana government and the state police have promised strict action and said that the killers of DSP Surinder Singh will not be spared. Earlier today, an encounter broke out between the Haryana police and mining mafia accused. One person was shot in the encounter.
आज जो एक बड़ी दुर्घटना हुई है, जैसा हमारे गृह मंत्री जी ने कहा, हमारे डीएसपी सुरेंद्र सिंह यहीं पास के नूर जिले में ड्यूटी पर थे और एक किसी खान माफिया के किसी व्यक्ति ने और उनके ऊपर गाड़ी चढ़ाई, उनकी मृत्यु हो गई है। बहुत दुखद ये घटना हुई है। हमारी सांत्वना है उनके परिवार के साथ भी, और हम वीर सैनिकों को हमेशा ऐसे मामलों में सबका मनोबल बढ़ाने के लिए भी अपने आप को भी प्रस्तुत करना चाहिए और उस परिवार की भी जिसकी क्षति हुई है उसके साथ भी खड़े हैं।
नहीं, किसी भी तरह से इसको बर्दाश्त नहीं किया जा सकता। मैंने उसी वक्त जैसे ही मुझे घटना का पता लगा, मैंने डीजीपी को कहा कि चाहे सारे जिले की पुलिस लगाओ, चाहे आसपास के जिलों की पुलिस बुलानी पड़े, चाहे रिजर्व बुलानी पड़े, लेकिन इसका जवाब दिया जाएगा और एक एक आदमी को पकड़ा जाएगा।
All right, joining me from more is Dipinder Singh Hooda, Congress leader. He's joining us live. Mr. Hooda, you know, the fact is, it's all well and good to say lawless Haryana, nothing, there's no control of law. But having said that, sand mining has been a problem in Haryana, not just in the incumbent government, Mr. Hooda, but all the way when your father was chief minister, when there was a Congress government as well. Can you hear me, Mr. Hooda?
No. If you ask, if you ask anyone in Haryana, there was a saying during, there was a widespread, saying during the previous government, the Congress, the Hooda-led Congress government, Hooda Saab-led Congress government. There was one thing which was very, everybody was used to say one thing, कि अपराधी या तो हरियाणा छोड़ दे या उनको धरती छोड़ने में मजबूर होना पड़ेगा. And before that, before 2004, there was a mafia raj during the Chotala BJP regime. But after that, it was cleansed, and law and order situation in Haryana was praised by the central government time and again, to the extent that Haryana became the largest recipient of investment. Haryana, in fact, in 2012, 13, 14, for 3 consecutive years, was the #1 state as far as investment is concerned, per capita investment, because the law and order was now, Noida is replacing Gurgaon as the preferred destination for investment. Who's responsible for this? So, while they can get into all whatever they want to say to, to put up some kind of defense, they also know situation, how bad it is. You explain to me, how can 5 MLAs get death threats in the last 10 days? And in fact, one of the MLAs, like I said, almost I was about to resign, and when we asked the DGP, he's saying that This is, from Pakistan occupied Kashmir, these death threats are coming. Now you look at another incident, the Sidhu Moosewala murder incident. Now there also, if you look at most of the gangsters who are behind that, they are linked to some village or another. It's a worrisome situation. For a person like me, so worrisome, because there was a time when the young from Haryana were getting attracted to sports, to education, and they were finding some positivity in their life through the, but now if you look at what's happening, it's a sad state of affairs, and BJP, JJP government is squarely responsible. The Chief Minister should take moral responsibility.
Mr. Hooda, it's all well and good, sir, to blame the BJP and the JJP government in Haryana. Where this incident occurred, Nu is not very far, where the borders of Rajasthan begin, sir. Illegal mining, rampant in Rajasthan as well. It's your government there. Forget about this Rajasthan. The scourge of illegal mining, especially the mafia, is so strong in even states like Chhattisgarh. Governed by who else, sir? You.
See, I'll tell you this. Like I said, there are two aspects. Now, one of the demands that we have put out today is that inquiry, independent inquiry. Inquiry should not be limited to who are the direct culprits and the direct people who are responsible for this. Inquiry, the ambit of the inquiry should include, that's our demand. Government should name those who are sitting in Chandigarh in big bungalows, who are the recipients of this mining mafia's bounties. Who are those people? We need answers. Haryana needs answers. This has been going on in the protection of the state government, the illegal, the sand mafia and mining mafia in Haryana. And it is not just the mining mafia. You ask about the liquor mafia. The biggest liquor scams are coming out of Haryana. In fact, illegal liquor are reaching as far as Bihar and as far as Madhya Pradesh from Haryana. Who are the people who have these ministries? Everybody knows in Haryana who are how the ministries were distributed between JJP and BJP. That was just to loot the state, and now all that is resulting in this kind of situation. So we demand an inquiry to punish those culprits, and along with the culprits, those culprits who are sitting in Chandigarh, who are the beneficiaries of these mafias. And by the way, if there is anything which is untowardly happening in any other state which is patently not acceptable, of course the law should take its own course. But Haryana situation is extremely bad, and for that the government of Haryana should take responsibility.
Mr. Hooda, appreciate you joining us. Thank you, sir, for joining us this evening on the story. But the fact is, I just want to give out a figure: 438 last year alone were the deaths at the hand of the sand mafia in the entire country, not just one particular state governed by one particular government. Thank you, sir, for joining us. But is it time now to draw that proverbial line in the sand when it comes to illegal sand mining? And will every government, irrespective of party line, bite that? We're going to keep a keen eye on this developing story, but I want to cut across to some international news. And it's strange, usually you don't see the news filtering in from Europe, but I would reckon this is the impact or the effect of climate change. Heat wave due to rising temperatures is scorching Europe. The UK has breached its all-time heat record, reaching 40.2 degrees Celsius. UK authorities are warning people to avoid using public transport, while a runway at an airport on London's outskirts was closed after partially melting. Heat wave is also searing through Germany, where solar output has broken the record for amount of electricity produced in one day. All of this as temperatures reached 41.2 degrees Celsius. The mercury is soaring. Powering heat scorches Spain, Belgium, recording 43 and 40 degrees Celsius respectively, and 39 degrees Celsius where Netherlands is concerned. So far, more than 1,100 people have died due to the heat wave in Europe. Here's more.
Heat wave warnings issued in Europe. As a result of the flames raging in Portugal, Spain, France, Greece and Croatia, some areas of Europe are currently experiencing a severe heat wave. First ever red extreme heat warning has been issued in England. The Met Office predicts that the temperature could exceed 40 degrees Celsius for the first time ever in UK. A national emergency has been proclaimed for the next 2 days. The heat health warning for England stands upgraded to level 4 by the Health Security Agency. In order to escape the record heat, Brits are heading to the beaches.
Well, you walk from shadow to shadow, so anywhere that you have to stay in the sun for a long time, that's off limits. So we'll have to deal with sticking in places like we are now, as opposed to walking next to the Thames or any places like that.
According to European Union, Cyprus could be vulnerable to the fires next. The EU says it anticipates a difficult summer of wildfires.
This summer will be really a serious challenge for us all, for the national authorities as well as for us as coordinating the response. Last summer was bad already. Last summer we had 9 activations of the Union Civil Protection Mechanism for forest fires. This year we already have had 5, and the height of the summer is still ahead of us.
Over 1,000 deaths in Spain and Portugal have recently been attributed to the heat wave. Bureau Report, India Today.
Viewers, you're watching a fact-check segment where we bust claims masquerading to be facts on social media platforms and WhatsApp groups. There's a claim suggesting a bridge collapse at Maha-Gujarat border, Maharashtra-Gujarat border due to rain. Incorrect. The fact-check on that, this is a very old video of a collapse from Jammu in 2020. Nothing to do with the current monsoon season or Maharashtra-Gujarat.